releasing that trapped emotion. I was saying it silently to myself, but what I was saying as I went throughout the process was, I set aside my opinion on this issue right now, whether it was an inherited emotion, whether I needed more information on it. I'm setting aside my opinion as I go along, and I want you to do the same too, okay? So keep in mind the mental conditioning aspect of it and continue to set aside your opinion so that it doesn't color the test results, okay? Since we're not testing physical substances in this case, but rather emotions, and oftentimes we're testing life experiences that we may not even recall at this point. So we can't let our negative mind get in the way. So be on your toes with the mind, okay? All right, next, let's go ahead and take a look at number 6. All right, the trapped emotion occurred at the age of, and then there's a bunch of notes, and then we have this wonderful chart right here. So what is this all about? Well, let's go up and take a look at the notes and we'll get an idea. You know what, let me move it over here. I think we get better lighting over here, don't we? Yeah, I kind of like it over here a little more. Okay, so you're going to be looking for yes and no answers. +5 or higher is a yes. You start by testing the 2 statements in the first row. Well, let's look at those 2 statements. The first one is less than 0. The next statement in that row is less than 50. And it says, depending on your answer, continue to test the statements in the first column to narrow it down to the decade. So let's talk about these first 2 statements in that row first. When you're testing, the first thing that you want to determine is, did it happen at an age of less than 0? And if you get a no, then you're going to be moving into finding out, was it from age 0 up through age 99? Well, that's where the second statement in that row comes into play. And if you are less than 50, and I am, yay, 48, then I did not have to test that because I knew it was my trapped emotion in my life here, and it wasn't an inherited emotion. If it were an inherited emotion, I would also test that. But since I know that it happened at the age of less than 50, because I'm 48, then in my example, I skipped that one, okay? But if you're doing an inherited emotion, or if you're over the age of 50, then test that one first, because it will help, if you take a look at this chart here, it will help cut that chart right in half, that you only need to test up in the first 50 here, or in the lower 50 in that area down there, okay? And so if we get a answer no to less than 0, then like it says in the notes up here, we test the decades, and we would go 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and let's say we got a yes on 30 to 39. Well then, according to the notes, it says once you have located the decade, move to the second column of that row. All right, so here's the second column of 30 to 39. And then I would test 30 to 34. Depending on your answer, whether that was a yes or no, then you test the appropriate block of 5 years in the same row to narrow it down to the years. So let's say I'm testing 30 to 34. I get a no on it. So I would skip this block here, and I would automatically know to go to this block. And then I would test 35, 36, 37, 38. And if I tested and got all no's on those, 35, 36, 37, and 38, then I know by default it's 39. Okay? And if I got a yes at 37, bingo, I stop and then take and write down in the log the age that the trapped emotion occurred. Okay? All right, let's see what else. Notes on that. Let's see if I have any notes on number 6. Oh, yes. I've noticed that sometimes when we narrow it down to a certain year, that experience or incident that has caused the trapped emotion, it may bridge from one year to the next, okay? So the readings, when we get to the age, these readings are to be used as estimates only here. The value of having this type of estimate is that it can help us to recollect the general time frame. Excuse me a minute. recollect the general time frame and what we were involved in at that specific time in our lives, okay? And this in turn, it will help us more fully pull the root when we're able to identify through further muscle testing, but only if necessary, what the particular incident may have been that was around that time frame, okay? So a further word on the age there. Okay, now that we have the age done, let's go to number 7. What does number 7 say? It says to check your baseline again. Again, we're going to be staying in touch with that baseline. And then the statement is, I need to know more information about this trapped emotion. Oops, sorry, got it in focus there for you. Okay, +5 or higher wins. So if you find that you need to know more information, 7A then says the trapped emotion involved, and then you have various options here: work, home, school, church, etc. Once you found an area that the trapped emotion occurred in, then you continue to number 8 below. So let's talk a little bit about the area. And let me get to my notes on that. Yes, when we're testing for the area in which the trapped emotion occurred, it's not necessary to test all of the options. Just the ones that are appropriate for that age. For instance, if the age is 6, you're not going to be testing to find out if it happened in the workplace, right? Unless maybe it was an inherited emotion and it was before child labor laws. So keep those things in mind. Let's see, needing to know more about the trapped emotion, that particular statement. What you'll notice is that you'll repeatedly see this in document K. So what we do is we expose the root, see whether we have to expose more. If we get a yes, we got to expose more. We expose a little more, and then see, have we got enough yet? No, okay, got to expose a little more. And like you saw in my example, that we pulled really easy. But what you'll find in other trapped emotions is that sometimes you just have to go deeper and deeper. And so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say about trapped emotions in the area when you're finding the area. Again, you're going to be age appropriate, and you're going to be appropriate to, especially if the trapped emotion occurred during your life, you're going to be appropriate to what was going on for you. So there may be something else besides school or work. It may be your aunt's house if you went home every day after school to your aunt's house. So think of the areas that were appropriate for you at that time that may be outside of some of our suggestions right here, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go down to number 8. So let's take a look at number 8. Again, there's that statement, I need to know more information about this trapped emotion. +5 or higher, you continue to A below. If you get a no, then you're ready to go to number 11, which is to do the releasing of that trapped emotion. Let's say that we got a yes, take us down to 8A. The trapped emotion involves my, and then it has a series of different relations here. You'll see these relations right here. And once you've found a relation, then you go one step further, which is this trapped emotion involves another relation. One of the things that I found is that when we're needing to dig a little bit deeper and find out the other persons that were involved, which for me is, oh boy, I get to forgive more people because that's big on my plate right now. I love to do forgivenesses because I feel the lightness of that, but that's just a side note. But anyway, the point is that sometimes it may be more than one relation involved. Like it may be the teachers at school and your parents, like maybe you got pulled into the office and it was a trapped emotion that occurred there. And so once we identify an emotion, we find out if there's a possibility that there may be another relation involved, okay? All right, so again, use what is relevant for your life at that time. And let's see if I have any notes around that. No? Okay, number 9. Here we come back to that statement again. I need to know more information about this trapped emotion. Okay? So as we go down, again, if we get a no, we're going to go to the clearing process. If we get a yes, we're going to go to 9A. This trapped emotion involves, and then it says, delve further into it, by naming specific persons or specific incidents, etc.